of the worst changes to competitive history, and everybody's angry about it. Storm Surge coming to solos and duos, late game solo arena is back, and the whole solo Cash Cup and Shadow Bomb fiasco going on in EU and NA East. Let's talk about it. Starting off with a lot of changes coming out from Epic Games in this previous patch that I didn't mention in the previous video because I just didn't see that they were there and they weren't included inside of the patch notes. Anonymous mode has now been removed in tournaments. Now, this is a very interesting change because for a lot of people, this is a huge disadvantage when it comes to spawn fighting when you're going into set lobbies. So let's take a look at the setting that got changed. Hide your display name during regular gameplay. This is the setting that you usually have in order to put yourself in anonymous mode when you're playing a game of Fortnite. However, it says you can hide your display name from appearing on the screen for anyone not in your party squad during regular game modes only, which basically means that when you're in tournament game modes, they will not be able to be used. Now, this is a massive issue because in a tournament game mode, and if you're a very big player and a very popular player, and you get knocked in the kill feed, or you get a kill in the kill feed, then all of a sudden, everyone in that lobby knows exactly where you are. If I told you that Video has been knocked in the kill feed, where do you think they're going to be? Greasy Grove. And where are you going to run to in order to third party? Greasy Grove. So this is a massive issue when it comes to big pro players because all of them are basically going to be in risk of getting third party in whatever tournament they ever play in. Now, this is going to be more prevalent when it comes to custom lobbies because obviously on a set lobby, all the players know exactly where everybody else lands at. We all see them post on Twitter where they're landing at. Drop maps get made before the tournament starts as well, and essentially all of these guys, they have the perfect information now when they're playing Fortnite to know where to go when they see something happen inside the kill feed. For a lot of people, the reactions on Twitter were mixed. A lot of people saw this as a good change because it allowed people to basically, get more information. They don't like it when people play in anonymous mode because they don't know who they kill, whereas from some other perspectives, mainly the pro players, they basically had the sentiment that this is a horrible change because you basically just never want to be contested because there's zero chance you ever get away from being contested unharmed because someone's going to third party 100% of the time. Now, one of the interesting things within the setting itself, it says that this feature is intended to mitigate stream sniping for streamers. Sure, when it comes to Arena, where this does work in, it only says tournament game mode, so it does work in Arena for the anonymous mode, and you won't get third party, but when you come to playing a big tournament where 99% of the viewership is in, well, basically, you're just going to get stream sniped anyways, and I'm not really sure how this is actually going to change stream sniping, because if someone knows they're in the same game, and even if someone has a minute delay, as long as they know they're in the same game, then they know where that player is landing, and they know the approximate area where they're at, then a 1 minute delay is not going to really do too much for them. And we're seeing a lot of pros already have delay, right? I think Savage standardized when he plays solo Cash Cups and when he streams duo Cash Cups, he always has at least 30 seconds delay, and that is not going to be enough when everyone's going to be running towards Tilted Towers and they see him in his game. So this is a horrible change from my perspective. So what is the solution in here? Well, honestly, it should have been flipped. If you really want nobody to have an advantage by playing anonymous mode, then make it that every other person in the lobby has anonymous mode on. Make it forced by default to have anonymous mode on so that everyone's in the same boat, no one's going to have issues overall, and we're all going to be anonymous so that you don't have any extra information outside of the game that you're playing. In the end, it is a battle royale. You don't want outside information influencing the state of the game. We've had massive changes with replay mode, giving it extra delay because there were coaches sniping in there, finding loot paths. This shouldn't be the same. This is something about competitive integrity, not about anything else, so it needs to be removed and needs to be changed when it comes to custom final lobbies. The second thing I want to talk about is that the Storm Surge has been added to all other game modes in Fortnite. So we had the new Storm Surge changes coming towards duos in order to improve the server's performance. Now it has been added towards solo arena and trio arena. So this is a good change. Overall, I think we've had a very positive influence of how this new Storm Surge has worked. It has made the viewing experience a lot better, I think, from a viewer perspective. From a player's perspective, I think some people have been on and off about it, but in the end, you're just going to have to get used to it. And it's also made server performance a lot better overall. So, in my opinion, this is a massive change. I'm very happy to see that. We did see it first being introduced into the solo Cash Cup NA East, and we saw a few people complaining about it, saying that it's a little bit grief heavy. heavy, and I think that's just because it's the first tournament with the actual Storm Surge added to it, and people are going to have to get used to it when it comes to solos. I can definitely see how a solo cash grip can be a little bit influenced by it, because obviously you're going to have a lot of people that aren't that great qualifying for solo cash grip finals, because there's 100 slots in total in order to qualify towards that final, and you can have a bunch of W key heavy players who don't know how to play finals lobbies, start to W key each other, and it's a bit of an avalanche, a cycle, as everyone starts to W key and get inside the box because they're going to panic. For those of you that don't remember, the Storm Surge goes like this. So in second zone, you get the Storm Surge warning when it first appears, and then when it starts to close, you go down to 64 players after Storm Surge is finished. After that, you go down to 54, then 44, then 40, and then 30 after that. So those are the thresholds. It doesn't matter what game mode you're playing, it's the amount of players left alive. So 64 for second zone surge is the number that I need to think about. And I'm happy to say solo late game arena is in the game, and I think everybody's happy about that. What's interesting though is that some of the loadouts are a lot different when it comes to trios. We talked about it in the video, and I thought all of the solo loadouts were going to be basically one of the trio loadouts, but it is completely different, and we saw this in the solo late game arena tournament as well. We're seeing a bunch of different loadouts, some of them with golden augs as well, some of them were spazzes, some of them were strikers. We have a bunch of different variety, so I'm very happy that it's back. Now that we have the late game arena tournaments coming through, it's going to be very interesting to see how people are going to be doing, how scrims are going to function, and whether or not this is a game mode that's maybe applicable to becoming a larger part of the Fortnite competitive roster coming to the next few seasons. Last but not least is the result of the solo cash cups, and I want to give a big congratulations towards Marco for winning the solo cash cup. A controller player from Finland, for those of you that don't know, did qualify FNCS Grand Finals this season as well, and did super well. Honestly, it was one of the most impressive players I saw in that solo cash cup. He was taking height every single game, even towards the last game, was looking super strong, and not afraid to actually go up and make plays for it. So very impressive stuff coming out of him. And second was Kezix, and Kezix and Forzador, they've been popping in the last dual cash cup as well. They played insane, and Kezix showing again why he's one of the best players in the world now, coming up with Forzador. So he got himself second with 2 wins in total in the solo cash cup as well, but unfortunately wasn't able to finish it out towards the last few games. In third place was Malibuca. Unfortunately, Malibuca is now washed, didn't win 3 games in a row, only got himself third place, but I'm sure he's very happy with that because he qualified 3 regions of EU, NA East, and NA West, and we'll talk about the NA East placement in a little bit. In fourth was the Andy from Synapsation, and then in fifth was an unknown player of Keksu, and I believe he's a Polish controller player, my chat was saying when we were watching this tournament, and he came in with 104 points in 5th place. So a lot of big names in that top 5 of Ziandi and Malibuca, but also some underrated players coming in and showing off why there's some, why they're underrated. Moving over to NA East, it was Acorn who took home the victory with a 48-point lead past second place of Peterbot with 110 points in total. So Acorn absolutely dominated the competition, and I want to run you guys through his placements in this tournament as well. He got himself a 3rd place with 4 eliminations, a win with 3 eliminations, and then he died in 41st place, but then he got himself a 5th with 3 eliminations, a 2nd with 5 eliminations, and then a 3rd with 4 eliminations after that, while streaming as well. So Acorn, absolutely insane performance from him, coming out with a 48-point lead, honestly deserved. Average placement of 9.17, but without that 41st place, it will be somewhere around top 3 average placements over 5 games, which is ridiculous when it comes to solos. In second, like I mentioned, was Peterbot, and 3rd place, look who it is, it's Malibuca. Placed in super high on NA East, and it's honestly, I think, one of the highest performances we've seen in past few seasons. It's been a while since we've seen a massive EU performance coming over towards NA East, and Malibuca showing up with 98 points in 3rd, Eomzo in 4th with 91 points, and then TK in 5th with 88 points in total. Now, these cash cups were a little bit interesting because we expected the Shadow Bombs and all of the Neo Phantasm items to be removed before it actually started, but there ended up being a bug to where everyone was able to use their Shadow Bombs, everyone was able to use their Shield Bubbles, and that extended over towards NA East as well, and probably was one of the reasons why Malibuca was able to do so well as well. A lot of movement allows you to basically play a lot more passively, and you don't have to get as many kills when you're playing on higher region, which is the most important part. But you can't take it away from Malibuca in third place, doing super well, and also qualifying on NA West after that. On NA West, though, unfortunately, Malibuca didn't do as well. He only got himself 72nd place and only played 4 games, because I'm assuming it was way too late for him to continue on after that. So, unfortunately, not 3 times for the money, but 2 times on NA East as well with 3rd place is absolutely insane, and congratulations to him. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.